The new thing that I ended up doing yesterday is adding a bunch of sand. If you remember, on the side banks, it was all solid black from the black plastic. And I took the sand and I just kind of lightly let it slide down the sides. So now it almost looks like it's a sand bank, even though it's, you know, lightly resting on top of the black fabric, or not fabric, but plastic for the liner. And so I ended up putting the sand. Eventually when things go on top of the rock, you'll only see the rock, you won't see as much sand. But I think it looks a lot better than having the black showing here and there, and then the rock. And it's kind of settling in here a little bit, but once it goes up another 2 to 3 feet, this will be, you know, on the bottom. It's not gonna, you won't be able to tell the difference in the bottom from the rest of it. The whole reason why I did this little area and I put the separator in there is because that's solid sand. Right along the edges, there's a little rock, but all the rest on the inside is all sand. And that's because I put clams in here. And I figure anything that really needs a soft bottom, it'll give it an area to be in that soft bottom. And another reason why it was good to add that sand is because a lot of like microorganisms and stuff like that need to be able to have the sand to grow on. Boomer's just watching me this morning, waiting for some handouts. He's always begging. So you can tell, even on the side here, you can now see the different shapes that the liner is pushing against the side bank. And I just think it kind of looks neat, almost like a mountainside. And the sand now makes it so you can see those different ledges. There's a bluegill begging. I gave him some worms yesterday. They loved the worms, Mikey and I, and we were trying to see if the peacock bass would end up eating some worms. Who knew that both Boomer and the peacock bass wouldn't like worms? Guess they want some night crawlers. I also had made that little, the 2 pieces on top of that aren't really going to be there. It's just Chris had stood in the middle and broke it and then set those off to the side and put 2 new ones in. I have that little cave there because, you know, when it goes up 2-3 feet, those are going to be little caves for the catfish or whatever is going to want to hide in. And then I haven't put another layer going up, but I'll actually have a bigger layer on the top for, you know, fish to hide in. But Mikey walks out on that platform to feed his catfish. So I don't want to add the 3rd layer yet. But everything is hanging in really nice. And always trying to do something. Just adding. I just want to get this, you know, bottom here, or, you know, the ledges with all the different caverns and everything that we're going to be making. I want to get all of it perfect. We don't want to add the trees and stuff like that because we keep covering the pond with a tarp, and I just don't want the tree pieces to get in the way. But I just want to get this all exactly the way that we want, so that when we're building it up, it all comes together and I don't have to monkey with it once it's up. I really do need to take those 2-3 bricks out because I don't want anything on the bottom at all. There's not going to be trees, there's not going to be caverns, nothing. That's just going to be a deep spot for the fish to swim in if they want. Right now I've got a boomer or catfish, somebody knocked it over during the night, but there's a water lily down there, and it's okay if it tips over, it still is growing. But the water lily I have right there, and it's actually going to be over in this corner. But it needs to have the deep water. it can't be in this shallow of water. I find that it was dying, and so now it's coming back, and it has like 8 new leaves on it, but it has to be in the deeper water. So until we get the next level up, that's just how it's going to be. Oh, there's Tilapia Joe. He's our buddy. Good morning, Tilapia Joe. Mikey likes to call him T-Joe. We haven't come up with a name for the big bluegill yet. There's a bunch of bluegill, but he's the biggest one. Oh, underneath there, I had seen the tail of, I believe, arowana. She's getting more friendly. Next to Joe, there's a few of the smaller bluegills. There's 2 of them. Oh, here comes Mikey's peacock. He's right there. That's Wallace. Wallace the maniac. I think he believes he's a bluegill. He's always with the bluegill, but really the bluegill are supposed to be in there to feed the bass. But the bass kind of spoiled. And they like their tilapia fillets. And the tilapia likes bread. So, anyway, that's what's going on with the pond right now. We sure do like Joe. And Boomer kind of reminds me of a manatee. It just is shaped. Mike feeds him so much, he's so fat. It'd be nice if you guys could see the arowana. Mikey named him Banjo. But another day playing around with the backyard pond.